Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Today, I welcome you all on behalf of ArthaPoint, where we are going to discuss what is the scope of Masters in Economics and what Masters in Economics is all about. So let me go ahead and share my screen and, we'll get started post that. Okay, so, before we deep dive into what is the scope of Masters in Economics, we should really understand what economics is all about. And, I understand that a lot of you would be from the background of economics, and by which I mean that you would have done your bachelor's in economics. But still, I would like to kind of, tell you what economics is all about. So, economics is the social science that describes the factors that determine production, distribution, consumption of goods and services. Almost in our day to day life, in every scenario, we use some part of economics, whether it is the way that we decide what product to choose, what product to consume, whether we talk about topics like inflation, whether we talk about topics like GST, in almost every aspect of our life, we use economics. When any of us get some amount of salary and we have to choose how to use that salary efficiently, we are using economics. That's something which is known as budget constraint for consumers. When a producer has to decide what should he produce from the labor and capital, he's using economics. When a producer has to decide whether he should be producing more amount of agricultural products or whether he should be investing in livestock, he's again using economics. We're talking about the production possibility frontier. So the different concepts of economics are majorly affecting our day-to-day life. And because it affects our day-to-day life, it is very important for us to understand what economics is, and it is very interesting as a future option. Now, there are a lot of fields in economics. To speak about the first field in economics is microeconomics. Micro means small. So the smaller part of economics, or the individual part of economics, where we only deal with individuals like consumers, like producers, that is microeconomics. The second stream in economics is macroeconomics. Macroeconomics is when we deal with the people as a whole. So, for example, when I deal with economy as a whole, I talk about macroeconomics. When I deal with what would be the policies of the government, I deal with macroeconomics. When I talk about employment, economic growth rate, like for example, nowadays we are saying that, the petrol prices have increased so much. There is so much inflation in our country. That is macroeconomics. So macroeconomics is when we look at the economy as a whole. Microeconomics is when we look at smaller parts, when we look at individual agents like households, like companies, like organizations, just one at a time. Microeconomics and macroeconomics in itself are huge topics to deep dive into. When we actually teach microeconomics as a course in bachelor's or master's, it takes almost 2 to 3 semesters for us to cover microeconomics separately and macroeconomics separately. So, there are vast streams of economics. Now, let us try and understand what are the specializations in economics. Now, what do I mean by specializations in economics? Once we have understood what economics is all about in terms of microeconomics and macroeconomics, we can deep dive into one kind of economics. For example, development economics. Development economics is only concerned with how will my models work? Which models will help me understand the development of my economy? For example, a lot of times we say that whenever a country is underdeveloped, it has high population rate. But as a country starts developing, the population rate starts increasing. When we talk about this, we are talking about what happened to a country when development took place. Or other theory that we have is that when an economy is underdeveloped, we are talking about an economy which is majorly in the agricultural sector. But as the economy starts developing, the economy moves from agricultural sector to manufacturing sector, and from manufacturing sector to the service sector. This is again a concept of development economics. So development economics is a specialization in economics. We can only go ahead and do a specialization once we are thorough with microeconomics, macroeconomics, or the basic economics. Another specialization in economics is organizational economics. This mainly deals with the way that organizations behave, and this is gaining a lot of importance in the corporate world. The third economics that we talk about specialization is labor economics. What happens to labor when all of a sudden a country which was completely rural country now starts developing an urban side? Will the labor migrate from the rural to the urban side? How will the labor migrate? How much labor will migrate? How much labor will still be there in the rural sector? How much labor will go into the urban sector? When we talk about things like that, that is labor economics, and many more. Now we have something which is known as health economics. Health economics has gained so much importance after COVID-19 because a lot of us want to try and understand and analyze how COVID-19 has impacted the economy. How has it impacted the unemployment rate? How has it impacted the inflation rate? So, once we deep dive into economics, we can take a specialization in any of these fields of economics. Growth economics, which talks about how my country would be growing over time. What would be the growth rate? What would be the path that my country would be taking? And so on. Now, a lot of students then come and ask, are economics degree worth it? Why should I go for economics? What is it that changes my future if I go into economics? First of all, economics is something, as I mentioned, that is used in your day-to-day life. Economics is something which is used in every organization. Economics is something that is used by government, it is used by corporates, it is used by NGOs, it is used all across the world. There are a lot of top destinations to study economics, and I would not say India is not one of them. Definitely India is one of them. But the kind of economics, the role of economics is such that you have opportunities which are international also. You can get jobs in US, Europe, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. Within India, its scope is huge. You can get job in RBI, you can get job in Niti Aayog, you can get job in any of the public sector after getting a master's degree in economics. So, one field that incorporates theory with practical knowledge and that is actually interesting to apply in the real world is economics. A lot of my colleagues tell me that, people who are in RBI, they tell me that, they are able to kind of use the real world scenario. They're dealing with what happens to inflation from day to day life. And that is something which is very interesting. You're able to use the information in daily life and apply your knowledge to that. So, because economics involves a lot of hands-on experience, a lot of practical knowledge, a lot of the ways where you don't only keep yourself to theory, but you apply that to the practical world, I would like to say that economics is really a worth it degree. If you look at the salary structure that economists gain, you will see that, we are earning much more than the other courses. A student who has a master's degree in economics bags positions like financial analyst, data analyst, data scientist, research analyst, research scientist, actuarial analyst, etc. You know, you can definitely choose anything from becoming an assistant professor to anything in the corporate world. And the salary that students bag after a master's degree is huge. For example, if we talk about the Delhi School of Economics, the minimum salary that students get is approximately 9 to 10 lakh per annum. And the highest salary goes for approximately 24 to 25 lakhs per annum. Now, I would like to kind of give you something which is known as a cost benefit analysis here. When I talk about courses like MBA requires you to pay a very hefty fees. And only after paying a hefty fees, you're able to bag a good salary. As against that, after doing a master's in economics degree, you bag an equivalent salary as much as an MBA graduate, but the amount you have invested in your education is very less. The amount of fees that you're paying is very less. For example, in Delhi School of Economics, the fees is just 6,000 to 7,000 for 1 year, which is nothing as compared to MBA, but you get exactly the same salary like MBAs. So, in terms of investment and return, a master's in economics degrees bang on. You get good salary with lesser and lesser investment. As I was mentioning about the career prospects, a lot of students also prefer to go for a research degree after doing a master's in economics. They go and they do a PhD in economics and they become full-time researchers. Few of the people prefer to take a job after master's degree. People sit for exams like IES, like RBI exam. And, for all of these exams, you require a master's degree in economics. You can become a financial analyst. You can work in banks like HDFC, American Express, etc. You can take your economics career in the public sector like Niti Aayog. You can pick up on actuarial sciences. For example, there is this subject called CB2, which is absolutely using economic skills. You can go ahead and take careers which are there in the teaching sector also. So, almost every field you pick up, whether it is journalism, you can become economist writer in a newspaper, whether it is journalism, whether it is politics, whether it is sales, whether it is an HR firm, every firm would require an economist. And in that sense, doing a master's degree in economics is going to definitely add a lot of value to your CV. Now, what does ArthaPoint has to offer to you in terms of economics? If you want to go through that once. Now, we understand the kind of syllabus that is asked in Masters of Economics entrance exam. And what we do is we cover courses, we cover subjects so that you can sit for MA entrance economics paper related to Delhi School of Economics, related to ISI, related to IGIDR, related to JNU. And we also understand now that there is this new, institute, which is IIT, which has launched, an entrance exam for economics. So we have IIT JAM Economics and we have GATE Economics. And even for them, we are covering the entire entrance exam syllabus in 1 year. So what are the main topics that we cover? We cover econometrics as part of our 1 year course. Econometrics is completely related to regression analysis. for those of you who are absolutely new, econometrics is economics applied mathematically. So it's an interesting course. Post this webinar, we'll also share a few demo videos with you, and you can go through the course of econometrics. We cover microeconomics. As I told you, microeconomics is something that deals with individuals. So we cover consumer theory completely. We cover producer theory. We talk about risk. There is this new field of economics which is gaining a lot of importance, especially in the specialization, which is known as game theory. We covered that as part of microeconomics. We covered general equilibrium and partial equilibrium. Then we begin with maths. And in maths, we cover right from the beginning. For students who are even from a non-mathematical background, will be able to grasp the maths that we do. So we are going to begin from the very start, and then we're going to talk about set theory, numbers, linear algebra, etc. Then we'll do macroeconomics. As I mentioned, macroeconomics is when we talk about the bigger picture, when we talk about the entire economy as a whole. So we would be talking about GDP, we would be talking about open markets, about closed markets, what is IS, what is LM, what is aggregate demand, what is aggregate supply, what is the labor market, what are the different growth models, etc. We will also be talking about international economics. This is definitely coming in IIT exams. It's an important subject that would be asked in IIT JAM paper, and international trade, very similar to each other. Then we would be talking about statistics. In statistics, again, because we understand that the people who are sitting for a master's degree in economics may not be from a mathematical background, we'll start statistics from the very basic. So we'll do probability, we'll do random variable, expectations, hypothesis testing, etc. This is the main course that we would be covering during a period of 1 year. But other than that, what we do is we would be giving you recorded snapshot videos for each course. Now, these snapshot videos will help you, kind of revise the concepts that would be done in the live lectures. Every day, we would be solving the past year questions for you to grasp the concepts well. We would be also focusing on mock tests. We would be taking a lot of problem sets. We would be solving questions together. And for 1 year, you will get access to both our app and our online platform, our desktop platform, to get access to MA Economics entrance exam course. Now, this is it from my side. I would like to take doubts that you have, if there are any. You can maybe type in the doubts, or you can, unmute yourself and tell me your doubts.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, I'm Ria. I am pursuing my graduation in English Literature Honours with Economics.
Okay.
So, ma'am, I'm planning for Masters in Economics next year. So, ma'am, I have opted for Humanities and Computer Science in my 11th and 12th. So, I have no experience of mathematics, but I want to study maths because it will be helpful for me in the future. So, can you guide me, from where should I start? From the basics of 11th and 12th, or should I just apply for the course that you are providing?
All right. So, although in our course, we would be covering the basics of 11th and 12th also, we would be only covering the aspects that are required from economics point of view. So, for example, differentiation, integration, these are the topics that are definitely coming in the final exam. We would be covering those in our videos. Probability we would be covering. But, as you go through our videos, it is always a good idea to practice more and more. So, once you do the set theory from our videos, you solve our problem sets, you can always go back to the R.D. Sharma or to the NCERT book from class 11th and 12th and solve more and more questions, and we can take those doubts also. So, the more you practice, because maths is a practical subject, the more you practice, the better it is. So from our course, you'll get to understand whatever is going to come as part of the entrance exam, and whatever the students of economics honors study in maths in their graduation. But as a part of practice, it will always be a good idea to solve more and more questions from 11th and 12th.
Okay, ma'am. So you will be teaching in the course that all the people that who have opted for graduation in economics, that the course of econometrics will be taught by you as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Econometrics is separate and maths is separate. We would be covering both, and in maths we would be starting right from the beginning, so that we understand that people who are doing masters in economics might not have done their graduation in economics. So we begin from the very beginning.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything else anyone would like to ask?
Hello, ma'am.
Yes. Hi.
Hi, ma'am. I'm Apurva. I'm presently doing my graduation in economics with maths and statistics. Even if in my 11th and 12th grade, I didn't have maths, but I am presently doing mathematics and statistics. So could you please suggest a few economic branches where, less of mathematics and statistics can be used? Which has got more better future prospects?
Sure. So, economics and maths are very interlinked. So, to kind of go ahead and do a field of economics which is completely without maths would be a difficult thing to do. However, if you choose subjects like development economics or behavioral economics, they have comparatively very, very less proofs as compared to subjects like microeconomics, which is completely maths oriented. So you can go and study subjects like development economics, public economics, or you can do subjects like international economics. International still has some proofs, but development and behavioral for sure would have very less of maths.
Thank you, ma'am. Also, could you please tell me about by what time we should start preparing for our PG entrance?
Ideally, you should start preparing just when you start your third year. So, it takes one complete year for you to complete the syllabus with the mock test and to, completely understand how the entrance exam questions come. So 1 year should be a good time to, devote to the entrance exam practice. Is there anything else? Anyone?
Ma'am?
Yes.
Ma'am, behavioral economics, like you said, is growing day by day. But do we have much scope in it?
Yes, we do. With time, definitely, because behavioral economics is being used in the corporate world a lot to understand what leads to employees leaving an organization, and how do we retain employees in an organization, because an organization spends so much on their employees, right? On their training, on teaching them certain things, and just after the training, imagine if the employee just leaves the organization. It's such a waste of money and effort for the organization. So in that aspect also, behavioral economics has gained a lot of importance. Every organization does employ people who have done their specialization in behavioral economics. But I would still like to mention that its prospect outside India is much more than in India. In India, universities like Ashoka, they have launched a full-fledged behavioral economics course. They talk a lot about nudge theory, and it's a beautiful course to take, but they only do that as part of your PhD program. Masters, I'm not very sure if they teach you that as one of the subject, but you can definitely do a PhD in behavioral economics from there.
Ma'am, also, could you please give a brief idea about top universities in India and abroad, which are good for pursuing in MA Economics or MSc Economics?
Right. So in India, if I talk, the top would at the top, I would like to have two main, colleges or universities. One would be Delhi School of Economics, which is Delhi University, and the other would be Indian Statistical Institute, which is there in Delhi and Kolkata. They have the highest package. When I say highest package, it goes almost up to 24 to 25 lakhs. Apart from these, there are these institutes like Madras School of Economics. Then currently we have, this was the first batch that has started for IIT has also launched economics, so they're also equally good. We have JNU, we have Jamia, we have South Asian University, we have IGIDR. But as far as the ranking is concerned, DSC and ISI would have the top ranking. Now abroad, again, it depends from country to country, but London School of Economics definitely has a very good economics course.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi. Yes.
Ma'am, I have a question. Other than the academic side, what else should we focus on in order to survive in colleges? Like I had heard that for surviving in DSC and ISI, we need some other kind of knowledge other than the academics.
Right. So, for surviving in DSC, all that is required is hard work. So, you have, the faculties would be teaching you for approximately 4 to 5 hours, along with, some tutorials that will take place. But you have to put in a lot of hard work. You have to study for almost 8 to 10 hours every day in DSC or ISI. That's the kind of course that they have, but it's worth doing from there. Okay. But you have to only focus on what is being taught there, only the syllabus that is being taught there, only the problem sets that are being taught there. That is what will help you survive in DSC or ISI. However, once you get out of DSC, if you are going into the corporate world, then I would suggest you to do at least one of the coding language. So you should either do R or Python to get into the world of analyst, business analyst, data science, data analyst. Because then, apart from your econometrics knowledge or economics knowledge, they would also require you to show how you can code that thing. So in that sense, after DSC, some part of R and Python is required. But to survive within DSC, only the lectures and problem sets of the faculty. Is there anything else that you want me to answer? Anything, any question? Okay, so for proper study plan, what I would like to suggest is, irrespective of whether you are from an economics background or non-economics background, you look at the syllabus of Delhi University, what is being covered under graduation. You should be well equipped with what the Delhi University students have done in their 3 years of graduation. Because when you are competing, these students would also be sitting for the exam, you would also be sitting for the exam, everybody else would also be sitting for the exam. So, even if you're from Delhi University, I understand that, when we are in the semester system, we miss out on a lot of things and we do not do them thoroughly. So whatever is suggested by Delhi University, that is all what would be required for you to sit for any entrance exam across the globe. For example, they suggest that you should do Snyder and Nicholson for microeconomics. So, that's the book that is followed in India also and outside India also. So you should be picking up on Snyder and Nicholson. Similarly, for maths, Nut Sedister is the book that they follow. So this is the right book to follow, whether you're sitting for any entrance exam in India or abroad. So what you should do is look at the syllabus of what has been covered in 3 years. Look at the recommended books. If you want, we can also send you a list of the recommended books by Delhi University. They are the books that would be followed in India and abroad, and you have to start going through the books. What I suggest is, you have to give 2 months each to each subject. So, that ways in approximately 8 months, you would be covering micro, macro, stats, and maths. When I say stats, you cover tricks with it. You cover econometrics also, right? And when I say micro, you have covered game theory also with it. Now, if in 8 months, you have thoroughly done all the books with, a complete syllabus, you can pick up on all the past years and start solving those past years. Once you see those past years and you solve those past years, you'll know what are the topics you lack behind. You can pick up on those topics again and focus on those topics again. My suggestion would be, look at the past years again and again. See what's the complexity of the question. What kind of questions are being asked in the final exam? And then, prepare accordingly. So, we will have your email IDs. I will definitely send you the list of the recommended books also. Anything else that you would like me to answer? All right. So, what you can also do is download our app, ArthaPoint. We have a lot of free material available there. You will find a lot of my videos available there. You can go through those free material also to kind of understand what's the kind of course that comes as part of the final MA entrance exam. All right. Thank you so much for attending today's webinar. We will be having another sessions of webinars, especially focused on IIT JAM exam also in the coming days. We'll send you an alert for that also. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Bye.